everybody, Jason here from Musical Smoke Productions, and in today's video we're going to show you kind of a multi-step process on taking a demo and getting it to the rough mix stage using Logic Pro. Alright, so where do we leave off last time? Well, we were working on a tune called Shades, and if you watched the last video, you know that this was a tune that was started in GarageBand for iOS. I did it on an iPad actually, and I got pretty far with it. I really liked it. It was a fun process, and now things are getting kind of serious. I'm looking at putting this on an EP coming up, and in order to do that, I need to remix, probably retrack a bunch of stuff, rough mix, final mix, and then of course go through the mastering process. So in order to do this, I guess so far we've been through the conversion process where we've taken everything off of GarageBand and moved it over to Logic. We adjusted our routing and our buses. Okay, and we did some organizational things. We made a template and all that other good stuff. Okay, so that's where we're at now. So now what we need to do is, before we decide what needs to be retracked, which of the current tracks are salvageable and which ones do we want to spend time with, working on the processing and all that good stuff, we have to take a closer look at something very important, okay? And if I knew then what I now know, I would have done things a lot differently. You see, we're going to talk about something called gain staging today. All right, and gain staging, basically, it means setting your levels appropriately, making sure that you have enough. We're going to use the word headroom to apply effects, EQ, compression, all different kinds of things. You can add a bunch of plugins to enhance and tweak and customize your sound for each one of your tracks that you record, right? But the thing is I used to think it was as simple as just watching your meters and making sure that everything stays in the green, right? Green is good, yellow, up, you got to be careful, and red, up, stay away from red. You don't want to clip. And that's true to a certain extent, but the numbers definitely mean something. You want to know what your meters, how they function, and what the numbers are telling you, so to speak, because you can't always go by your ears. I guess you could if you have really great ears, but you can't always go by your ears, and you can't just go by the numbers, and you can't just go by the colors of the meter. You have to go a little bit further than that. So I'm going to show you what to look out for, and how you can take your a good demo and really make it into something pretty cool, pretty extraordinary. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we're gonna take a listen. I'm gonna find one of the busier sections here of this tune, and we are going to just take a listen and see what our meters are telling us and what our ears are telling us. Okay, so let's try maybe right here. Let's see what this sounds like. All right, so it didn't sound horrible, but I'm going to go ahead and solo that section again. We can't really tell much from what our waveforms look like, other than just noticing, wow, some of them are bigger than the others, right? And again, if I knew then what I know now, right? Why do some of them appear larger than others, and why are we staying in the green when I can hear that there are some things that maybe are distorting and all that? Well, let's take a look at our meters, okay? So in our mixer window, we're going to pay attention to a couple of things, all right? We're going to look at this master track, and we're also going to be looking at the instruments that are registering here on the meters, what these numbers are telling us, and what the color is telling us as well. All right, so let's take a closer look here. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, our master track is showing minus 2.8. Now I have a limiter on here, so I'm going to take this off. That number may or may not change now that the limiter is off. Okay, but regardless, that's really, really high. I know that it's not, in the yellow or the red, but any mixing engineer or mastering engineer will tell you that you don't want your piece of music peaking that high if you do plan to go through that final mixing and mastering process. You want to leave a little bit more, they call it headroom. Okay, so we don't want this meter peaking any higher than, let's say, maybe minus 8 dB or so. All right. Now, for this particular video, we're not going to get into using any other metering software or apps or plugins other than just watching what our meters are showing us here in Logic. Okay, and these are peak meters. All right, so this isn't going to give you, like a sustained or overall, metering information. We can definitely do that in another video. There are some stock Logic plugins. Actually, I'll just kind of show you one right now, as a matter of fact. When you go to utility, I'm sorry, not utility, you go to metering, and you can apply your loudness meter, level meter. There's a multimeter which gives you a little bit of both. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look here at some of these just for fun. This is, we won't go into any great detail here, but that's the level meter, and let's go with the loudness meter. Okay, so again, we're not really going to be getting into this so much, but take a look. So this will tell us right here that we're basically peaking in our left channel and right channel higher than what we really want to be peaking at. Okay, so again, we're going to kind of go in more detail in another video, but that's useful to know. All right, so what is this telling us? Minus 2.7, that's too high. All right, so how do we change it? How do we go about changing all of this? All right, well, the first thing is it's a bit of work, okay? The first thing that I want to do is I want to go into my mix tab up here, and I want to turn on something called pre-fader metering. All right, so what's pre-fader metering going to do? I'll show you. If we take a look at our first track here where it says kits, all right, you'll notice that on this meter, I'm going to solo this just for fun, it's showing minus 28 dBs. You might think, wow, that is really quiet. Well, the reason why it's showing minus 28.4 dBs on this meter is because I've got the fader turned down quite a bit. Let's take a look here. I mean, this is minus 27 dBs. That's really, really turned down a lot, right? Okay, so why does the waveform look so large? Well, let's go ahead and go back to our mixer window. We're going to turn on pre-fader metering. All right, so we were just at minus 28 dB. Let's take a look and see what it says now. Okay, this is bad, guys. So we can see here we're in the yellow. All right, this is minus 0.5 dB. That's way too hot a signal. Okay, we're going to have to turn that down. Now you might say, well, wait a minute here, Jason. How do we turn this down? The fader is already at minus, what was it? Minus 27 dB. We don't have enough room, right? This only goes down to what, minus 60 or something? We don't have enough room to turn this down. And you're right. Okay, and as we look at some of our other meters, you can see that a lot of them are doing kind of the same thing, right? We've got 4.2. That's really bad. Okay, that's all contributing to the problems that we're having in our master track, just, the signal being too strong, too loud. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all the plugins here in this one track. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight the whole entire track, okay, from start to finish here, whole entire thing. All right, I'm going to zoom in just so that you can see what I'm talking about here. There's the waveform, right? You can see that our waveforms are I mean, they're almost taking up the whole window here, okay? What can I do to fix this? You go into your inspector, okay? And to the left here, you're going to see gain. Right now it's at 0 dB or unity gain, okay? We're going to bring this way, way down, okay? How far down? Well, we want to see that our meter here is peaking. I would say I try to aim nowhere higher than between like -8 and -12 dBs, okay? So if this is at 0.5, we're going to have to bring this down at least that much. All right, and you can see as I'm doing this, it's changing the size of the waveform. Let's start with -8 dB, and let's see what that sounds like now. Okay. Does it sound softer? Oh yeah, it sounds a lot softer. Okay, but you can also see here that the amount of signal has been reduced to -8.5. All right, I'm going to go ahead, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to bring this down to -10. And now we're right in that ballpark between -8 dB and -12 dB. Okay? Now again, is it softer? Yes. Does that mean we have to remix everything? Yes. It's going to mean that. Like I said, this is going to take some work. You want to do this to every track, right? You want to double check and make sure that things aren't peaking too high where you're going to wind up having an unusable track and you're going to have to retrack everything. All right. Now, again, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I may wind up retracking most or all of this anyway from the demo stage. We don't know yet. Okay, we'll have to see what we have to work with. But we're going to go through each and every one of these tracks, and we're going to go through the same process. Okay, so we're going to go on to the nice room, and we're going to go ahead and solo this. Okay, again, we've got everything highlighted just in case we need to adjust the gain. We're going to watch our meter here. This says 0.8 dB, so this is rather high as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Okay, so this was the loudest part right here. 0.8, peaking at 0.8. So let's bring this down to -10, just like the other one. You can see the waveforms changing. And let's see if that makes it a lot better. Okay, 9.2. We can work with that. That's right in our window, right? You can kind of scan and look and see for any of those really big waveforms. Let's take a look here. And we're still pretty good. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, so now you might say, well, you know, how is this going to affect the master channel, right? If we play this together, you know, we'll solo these together. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way down here. And, oh, I almost forgot. When you're doing this, it's probably easier to stay off the mixer window. So what you can do is you can go to your master track here, and I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to go Show Output Track. And what that will do is it will then show at the bottom here, it will show you your output track, your master track right down here. All right, so if I click on that, this allows me to check and see, am I getting into that minus 0.3 dB or 3.2 dB? No, I'm way under that, right? 17.6, we're in good shape here. So if we wanted to do any processing, mixing, mastering, etc., we're in good shape. Now, one thing I forgot to do, I remembered to turn off my plugins for this particular example, okay? And I forgot to do it here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. The sends do not matter for this process, but let's go ahead and go back and double check our levels again. Okay, so you can see just from turning off those couple of plugins, it brought us back down a little bit. So we don't have to go necessarily as much as -10. Let's maybe try for -8. Um, and sometimes when you add plugins, in this case, I can't remember what was just active, but probably a compressor or maybe a channel EQ or something like that. Sometimes uh, those plugins can add signal. Okay, they can add gain. In fact, and now I'm curious. Yeah, so it looks like there was some additional, mostly subtractive EQ here, but in the instance of zero point 0.5 dB here, 0.5 dB there. The compressor was probably hard to say if that was actually giving us any gain or anything like that. Any here's additive EQ here as well. So again, they can add gain if you don't turn them off. You want to just start with a nice clean signal and you do your processing after that. Okay, so let's take a look. And we can still probably come up a little bit. -6. Still come up a little bit. Let's go to -4. Pretty good. Oh wow, look what happened there. So we found the waveform, the large waveform here, right? And we noticed that before it really wasn't an issue, probably because we had that compressor on. And here it looks like it's going to be a little bit problematic. All right, so that was at -5.4. Let's turn this down another couple dBs. Go down a couple more. There's a reason we're doing this, and that reason is there we go, made you wait. We're going to go down another dB or so just to be in that safe range. There we go. Okay, again, between -8 and -12 dBs. Another reason why that ratio is so important is a lot of the plugins that you use are designed to function really well with that amount of gain being sent to it. Okay, so I'm not going to say all plugins are designed that way, but a lot of the ones that I use work really well when you're, not peaking past a certain point. And again, you can always adjust. All right, so let's go ahead and just take a look here. Right in that good range. This one. Skip a little forward. Right in that good range. All right, cool. So these two are pretty good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on now to the next one here. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and solo this, and let's make sure that we locate a good section. This looks like it's probably a loop, so it may not matter that much. Just go here, we'll take a listen, turn off the plugins. All right, so you can see that we need to come down a couple dBs. So we're going to bring this down about 3 dBs or so. See if that'll do it. Okay, that works. Now, you may have heard a couple of like little pops or abrupt stops. We can fix all of that in another video. Just as I'm kind of addressing it now, you can use your fade tool to fade in and out some of those spots where you are having those those pops and all that other good stuff here. Hold on, let me go ahead and highlight the whole thing. There we go. Why isn't that working? There we go. Okay, so what this will do, okay, and I'm just quickly going through it now so that we can show you how you can take something that sounds kind of, to be honest with you, kind of yucky at this point, right? And you can make it a whole lot better using these crossfades. That one's not working for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. I'll do this. Let's take a listen to these. Okay, so a little cleaner. So you don't have those pops that we had before. I'm going to go ahead and undo all that. Let you hear it again. Yeah. So again, that was just a crude display of how you can really work with that tool and make it awesome. But yeah, so we want to go ahead and I can highlight that, make sure that our gain is good. It is. And again, if I solo everything that we've worked on so far, we go down to our master track here at the bottom. You can see that we're nowhere close to where we were before. All right, so you go through this process with every track, and you should be well on your way to getting your gain staging optimized for your remixing process. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of this off camera for everything. As you can see, some of them, man, were recorded real hot here. So this one here makes me nervous. Just for fun, let's take a look and see where this is going to come in. These are finger cymbals. Oh yeah, that's way up there. So we want to really bring those down quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this video, and we'll come back here in a moment, and we'll take a look and a listen to everything once it's been brought down to a reasonable level of gain staging. So we'll go ahead and pause the video, and then we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So over the last I don't know, half hour or so, I went through all the tracks and I adjusted the gain on all of them. Came across one issue, and that is two of my tracks here are actually Midi files. And instead of adjusting gain, there's a velocity adjustment here. Now, I didn't mess with that. Instead, I'm going to show you really quick how to convert a Midi track into an audio track. It's super easy, and then from there we can adjust our gain levels. So basically what you do is you highlight the Midi track, you go up here to File, and you go to Bounce, and you can click Bounce Track in Place, and it will ask you if you want to create a new track, if you want to replace it. I'm just going to create a new track. It'll create a new audio track. You can either choose to bypass the plugins or apply them. I already have them turned off, so it's not going to really matter. So I'm going to leave that unchecked and normalize off, and we're going to go ahead and click OK. It will bounce our track. It will convert it into a stereo audio file, as you can see here. We'll solo this, and we'll see where our levels are. Now we can adjust the gain. Before it was just velocity, now it's gain. Okay, so we're actually going to come up a little bit on that one, up about maybe 7 dBs or so. Let's see where that takes our meters. Go up a little more. All right, great. So that one's done, and we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing with our, I think this is a cymbal or something. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we will bounce that one as well. Track in place. New track. Oh, almost forgot. Got to take the plugins off of this one. There we go. Track in place. It will do the same thing. Okay. And you can see it automatically turns off those MIDI tracks. All right, let's take a listen here. See what we've got. Okay, so that one's pretty strong. We're going to turn that one down a little bit by about 5 dBs. Okay, pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our mixer window. And now that everything has been adjusted, you can see that all the plugins are off. Okay, these are new tracks that don't have anything recorded to them. Now this is probably going to sound quite bad. Again, we've taken off all of our plugins and all this other stuff. And this is going to just translate roughly to, quite honestly, I don't know how it's going to sound, but I can attest that our metering is probably going to be a lot better. Let's take a listen here.
Well, I'm very sad now. I need someone to talk to. This
Okay,
is the
so we're
worst
looking at our meters.
life.
Nothing going above yellow.
It's time for bed.
This is really happening.
Can't we play instead? Rest your sleepy head. I must go, you said.
You can look at that master track,
Didn't know it
minus 12.8.
then. I dreamed in shades of red.
It'll go up a little bit here,
Oh,
more active part of the song.
Woke up and then I knew my worst fear came true. Mom and Dad are through. Not sure
So this
what
looks pretty good.
we'll do.
This one right here is a little bit high, but it's still falling within that range that we want, between minus 8 and minus 12 dBs. So what I will probably do is I'll go back and I will, because that one's peaking a little bit higher than I want it to, I'll go back and I'll turn this one down by a couple of dBs. There we go. So now we should be all set. All right, so now the next step, of course, is to probably go back in and really listen to each track individually, determine if any of them you want to keep, if any of them you want to retrack, and you're starting off from a point where you can potentially save all of these. As long as none of them were clipping when you were recording going in, you should be able to use them still. Again, you'll have to go through the mixing process again and starting from scratch in that sense, but at least you're starting with good, clean signals that are going to not cause your master track to distort, run out of headroom, and all of that good stuff. Okay, so this is a good step in the right direction. Again, going from demo to rough mix. I wouldn't call this a rough mix, not yet anyway, but the focus has been in this video how to work with gain staging to help get you there. Okay, so once again, this is Jason from Usable Smoke Productions. I hope you found this video helpful. If you can gain something from my trial and error, from my past mistakes, hopefully you'll be in a better place with your own music making and your own music production. So until next time, happy music making, everyone, and I will see you again in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.